Good morning and welcome to Valley Focus. I'm your host, Deborah LeRae. My dear friend Donna Rogers is back with us. Good to see you.
It is so good to see you, too.
It has been so long. The last time I had you in here, you were with United Food Bank.
That is correct.
But you have since changed agencies. You are now with Catholic Charities. So what do you do for Catholic Charities?
Well, I'm their development manager.
What does that mean?
Well, my job is to be able to get support for all the different programs that we have in central and northern Arizona. So it's a big, big job I have.
You got a lot of coordinating to do, don't you?
I do.
No wonder I haven't been able to get you on the phone for the last 6 months. You've been busy, busy, busy.
Well, it's a good busy, though.
It is a good busy.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell you that I've had several of the ladies in that have been with several of the programs with Catholic Charities, and they were just outstanding. And some of the programs that I'm familiar with are just top shelf. And we're going to talk about that today.
Yes.
And we'll talk about some of the other things that you have going on at Catholic Charities, which has been around since 1933. For people that don't know, Catholic Charities was established in 1933. You don't have to be a Catholic.
No, you don't. You don't have to be a Catholic to work there, and you don't have to be a Catholic to receive our services.
And that's really important because the array of programs that are offered through Catholic Charities are just innumerable. There's so many. And the fact that those programs are there regardless of faith, background, ability is something to be said.
Absolutely. And I think the one Catholic thing, if you wanted to put Catholic with it, is actually something that's fundamental to all people, regardless of their religion, and that is that we believe everybody deserves dignity, regardless of where they are in life. And so if we see someone who's in need, we want to help them. We don't ask questions, we just help.
The numbers that you help are just astounding as well. Last year alone, almost 100,000 people.
Yes, we did. We did, and it spans almost the entire state.
This is almost 100,000 people throughout central and northern Arizona just last year alone. And I would imagine with the economy being the way it is and jobs being the way they are, that the need is even greater now.
Oh, absolutely. For example, our domestic violence shelter, the nights that the women stay there are longer than they have been in the past on average, simply because they can't find the jobs and so forth because of the economy. So it's amazing that we're helping more people when we're helping the people we have longer, too. So the amount of services we're providing is really, really grown.
I think it's important that we let people know that this isn't just a handout, that these programs aren't just, gimme, 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 that these programs are structured and administered as such so that the lives who are coming and are affected by the programs are getting permanent assistance so that they can change their lives. They're getting all the tools that they need so that they can change their lives. Like, for example, the Dignity Program.
Correct.
Which I've had several of the ladies in who have graduated from the program, which is really something because these are the most vulnerable. These are girls who have entered into the life of prostitution, whether it be willingly or unwillingly. Oftentimes it's because of drugs. Oftentimes it's because of their background. Maybe they were abused as youngsters, and that abuse and that cycle continues. And I've had them in here, and the Dignity Program just floored me. I mean, these girls walk in there with every odd that you could possibly imagine being against them. And one of the recent ladies that I had in was a graduate, and she said when she walked in, she was strung out on drugs, alcohol, prostituting, and now she has a bank account, she has a fiance, she got her own home, and all because she went through the program.
Yes. And the nice thing about that is, again, going back to the whole dignity thing, which is appropriately named for that program, is that those women, a lot of people don't know that those women enter that life at average age is 13 years old.
That blew me away, too. Who would have suspected that 13 years old? And oftentimes these girls are homeless. Mm-hmm. And this is the only source of survival for them until they get into a program like Dignity.
And the idea is that, those girls, they're coming from bad backgrounds, and they make this so-called friend who then turns on them as well and has them doing things they shouldn't be doing. And then lots of times the public looks at them as if they chose that life, and they didn't. So they really have nobody going for them. And so it's so nice that we're there, and we actually get out on the streets and do outreach and actually try to reach out to them and get them some help.
Now, it's important, like I said from the onset, that people know first and foremost that this isn't just that what Catholic Charities does and all of the programs that are under the Catholic Charities umbrella, these are not handout programs.
No.
These are programs to assist those most vulnerable and in need to alter their lifestyle, to take a different path, to change their life, to break the cycle, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's prostitution, whether it's drugs. But there's also some really cool things that Catholic Charities does as well, like adoption. Mm-hmm. One of my dearest friends on the planet, 23 years ago, adopted a Korean baby through Catholic Charities. And he, in essence, sort of grew up with my daughter. They were buddies. And when we left Pennsylvania, obviously, they're still in Pennsylvania. We come out to Arizona. But I'll never forget, because this was something that was really cool. This was a family that wanted another child, couldn't have one of their own for whatever reason, and turned to Catholic Charities and adopted this baby 23 years ago, who just graduated with honors, I might add.
Wonderful.
So that's cool. And it was all because of Catholic Charities.
Well, we love to hear those stories, those success stories. I mean, that's why we're here. We're able to make successes out of people's lives when they've been struggling. So that's great to hear. I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, see that? I taught you something today.
Yeah, you sure did.
There's also pregnancy counseling and fostering. You have homeless outreach.
We do. We actually work with Head Start to be able to get kids ready for school. So once again, it's that permanent thing. You start them out on the right foot, and they're going to be okay the rest of their lives. And that's where we come in.
Oftentimes, that's all somebody needs is just a helping hand or a leg up. Not looking for a handout, but it's just a little bit of help to get them on the right path.
And that's what we do. And our focus really is to, obviously we're there in the crisis situation. Somebody is in need of immediate help, whatever it may be, we're there. But we don't want it to stop there. We want to give them the tools that they're going to need to be able to permanently improve their lives. And that's really what our mission is.
Well, you have my sister's place. Yvonne was in here, fabulous lady, absolutely fabulous lady. And my sister's place is that type of place. It's an emergency shelter place that women can go to.
That's for our domestic violence victims. Yep. And we provide shelter. We have 25 beds, and we provide shelter for the women. But again, it's not just the shelter. We also have a counseling program called Pathways that sees to their needs for safety and for advocacy, court help, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because oftentimes you're going to need help when you go to court, whether it's for protective orders or whether it's to get child support or whatever the case may be, and to navigate the legal system when you don't know the legal system or have no background. Legalese, just looking at it is enough to make your eyeballs roll in the back of your head, especially if you're unfamiliar with it. You're looking at it going, what? Who talks like this? Who writes like this? Oh my gosh, I have no understanding of this. And my sister's place is just the ideal program for domestic violence victims. And one thing that never ceases to amaze me is that 1 in 4 women is a victim of domestic violence. 1 in 4. So right now there's 2 of us here in the studio. If we had 2 more in here, that would mean that 1 of us would be a victim of domestic violence. And oftentimes it could be somebody in your bridge club. It could be your Bonko night. It could be the ladies you meet for happy hour, once a month or whatever. It could be your best friend. You have no idea.
And the violence isn't always physical violence, too. Domestic violence can include emotional and just basically making you feel like you're worthless. And that's something that self-esteem is a huge thing, and it plays a big part in your life. And if you don't have it, or if somebody's breaking it down on you, then, you're lost.
You are lost, and that's where Paths of Hope come in. Put you on the right path. Tell us about Paths of Hope.
Okay, Paths of Hope is the permanent part of our solution, and it is a great program that we have. It's actually a 3-part program, and the 4th part, it has to do with tax, which I'll talk about in a little bit later, but you know, when people are in need, their needs are usually they're financial, but there's other things that contribute to that. In the case of somebody with domestic violence, they've got issues with parenting, with a place to live, all those kinds of things. So when they go through our Paths of Hope program, we teach them financial basics. And then the next step is we go through something called Getting Ahead in a Just Getting By World. It's a 15-week course where we identify 11 different areas where they may need help, whether it's parenting, substance assistance, and so forth. And we help them put together their dream plan of what they need to do in order to be successful in their lives. And once that plan is put together after 15 weeks, it goes to the 3rd phase, and it's called Circles of Hope. And that's where we get volunteers in the community to basically be mentors for these folks. And they identify those needs that they have, and we match them up with mentors who have experience or expertise in those areas. And they become, for about 2 years, they become the person or the group of people that person can go to for help, whether it's just talking or asking advice or a shoulder to lean on. And through that process, they're trying to make that dream plan that they put together become a reality. And that's what it is we're finding these permanent solutions for their lives. And the programs that you talked about, our Dignity program, we have with our domestic violence shelter, those people in those programs, they actually feed into the Paths of Hope program. So we're providing the crisis assistance through those programs, and then we're providing the permanent solutions through Paths of Hope. So it's a complete package, a continuum of care, you know.
The Paths of Hope program is
yes.
a 2-year program?
It's actually, that's the 3rd part, is a 2-year program.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty big commitment. So you have to make sure that when you get somebody into that program, that they're committed too.
Exactly. And that's what we're looking for, is for people who want to change their lives. It is a commitment. And it's not easy. I mean, nothing worth
Well, no, because, you know, as human beings, I think that oftentimes we are so apt to go back to the comfortable and familiar. Mm-hmm. Even though it may be uncomfortable, it's familiar to us. And there's a sort of comfort in there, you know, whether you're from an abusive home or whether you're living on the streets or whether you're living hand to mouth, whatever the case, whatever your individual situation may be, there is a comfortability there because you know it. There's no surprise. You know what to expect. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Your expectations are here. Whereas when you get into Paths of Hope, you're talking 2 years. As being, you know, probably altogether, it's probably a 4-year program?
Pretty close to it, yeah.
Pretty close to a 4-year program.
Probably more like 3. But
so you're talking about breaking those cycles mm-hmm. that somebody has probably been in generationally. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, domestic violence doesn't just all of a sudden start overnight. Usually it's a cycle that started within someone's childhood. You know, like my father was abusive. So my father was abused, therefore he became abusive. So he was abusive to my mother and me. Okay. And fortunately, with the 2 of us, it stopped there. I'm not abusive to my daughter. My mother is not abusive to me. But my father, he continued that even when he went on to a different marriage. Mm-hmm. You know, he never broke that cycle because that's what he knew. Mm-hmm. You know, and you tell your kids when they're little, hands are not for hitting.
Right.
You know, but then they see the father do it. And there's that old expression. I'm sure I've probably repeated this ad nauseum here on this program. And there's that old expression, if you want to see how somebody's going to turn out to treat you, you watch how he treats his mother. Oh. Or you watch how the father treats the mother. Because chances are, that's what you're going to get.
Oh my goodness. And you know, the thing is what you said about, you know, them being at a comfort level is absolutely true. And that's why that Circles of Hope is so important, because we surround, and that's why it's called Circles. We surround that person with people who are willing to be there so that they don't fall. back into their old habits or into something that was comfortable that's not healthy for them. And that is what is so cool about it. And the friendships and the bonds that are made through this program, it's a 2-year commitment, but the truth is they become friends. And it lasts a lot longer than 2 years, not because they feel they have to, but because they want to.
How often do you have somebody coming back that maybe graduated from the program to maybe mentor someone who's coming up through the program?
Well, this particular program, this Paths of Hope, is something that is relatively new. It actually came across through the Catholic Charities USA.
So you guys adopted it here in Arizona?
Well, we created ours here in Arizona, but it was to actually reduce poverty by 50% by 2020, the year 2020, and that's our response to it. And so as a result, we put this plan together, and it's just now in motion. So we're just starting out with it.
So basically, it's a relatively new program.
Yes, it is.
So
yes, it is.
We don't have any final numbers or anything like that yet because it's so new.
So new. We have had a few graduates. I think you mentioned you talked to a couple.
Yes, I did. And I was impressed.
Yes.
And I don't impress easily. I'm a tough cookie.
And they really, they swear by it. They really do, because they don't know where they would be without that kind of help. And we do have one woman who's going to be speaking at a women's conference who has, well, technically she's still in her circles, but she's going to come and talk about her personal story and share with people how important it was to have that there for her at a time when nobody else was there for her.
Where hope is lost, or so you feel that hope is lost. And oftentimes, as you said when we were talking about the Dignity Program a few minutes ago, Donna, as you said, oftentimes these girls who get sucked into this lifestyle of prostitution don't realize that they're getting sucked in until after it's too late, or after they've already been under the spell, so to speak, of someone. And it's usually some predator who has a handy knack, so to speak, of identifying the one most vulnerable.
Exactly.
And, peppering them. Usually, initially, you get peppered with all these wonderful accolades and how beautiful you are and how pretty you are and you're so special and this and that. Next thing you know, you're turning tricks for this person, and, they have you hooked on drugs or on their dependence. And oftentimes you don't know what to do and where to go and where to turn, and all seems lost. And you're like, I guess this is my life.
And due to the misconception that's out there, people think women want to do that, and so they're not as sympathetic to those women. And as a result, those women have nowhere to turn. It's really kind of a sad thing, and it's so good when we're able to help someone get through that so that they can find their self-worth again.
I had a phone call recently at the radio station, as a matter of fact, from someone who had heard us talking about dignity maybe about a month and a half or so ago. But they called the other day and said that heard the program and about a program regarding women in prostitution, girls in drugs, and trying to get them out of prostitution and blah, blah, blah. And he asked, do you remember what it was? I said, absolutely. I said, it's Catholic Charities, and it's the Dignity Program. And let me go dig for the phone number, and you can give them a call. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. Heard it about a month or two ago, remembered that it was on this radio station, and called up and said, hey, can you help me and get me that phone number? So I did, and hopefully they're on the path to wellness as well.
And we want to thank you for that, because if you didn't have us on the show, that person may not have been able to find the help that they needed. And so we're hoping that they did. And it made a big difference in their lives.
Let's hope so. Let's hope it starts them on the road to change anyway, and at least putting them on a healthy path to a good life. Donna Rogers is with us this morning. She is a development manager with Catholic Charities, Catholic Charities Community Services, and Catholic Charities does a lot. They do a lot, variety of programs, as Donna has found out. It was baptism by fire, so to speak, huh?
That was quite a way to put it, yep.
An array of programs to help our communities most vulnerable with solutions that will permanently improve their lives. And it's available, all of the programs are available to people of all faiths, regardless of your your background, your ability. It's been around since 1933, so this isn't some fly-by-night agency that just popped up yesterday. This is Catholic Charities has been around since my mom. Actually, right around when my mom was born, as a matter of fact.
It was actually established because of the Depression and the issues that people were going through back then. And it's so good that we're still here now with everything we're going through now. So it's, it's a blessing.
It's deja vu.
Yeah.
And since, actually, last year alone, between Central and Northern Arizona, Catholic Charities has affected more than close to 100,000 lives have been changed throughout Central and Northern Arizona because of the programs that are available through Catholic Charities. And some of those programs include pregnancy counseling, fostering, adoption, homeless outreach, there's shelter, there's some housing, trying to reduce poverty, domestic violence shelter and assistance through My Sister's Place, welcoming and assisting refugees from war-torn nations and reuniting families. Now, there was something that I read about, and I want you to tell me all about it. You have the North Star Youth Partnership Program.
Right.
North Star Youth Partnership Program. Tell us what that is. And in conjunction with that, you also have Teen Maze.
That is correct.
So tell us about the North Star Youth Partnership Program.
Well, North Star, going back again to our mission, we want to be able to provide permanent solutions. And one way you do that is to start young. Give people...
the younger the better.
The younger the better. So through the Youth Partnership Program that we have, we work with teens to provide them with healthy avenues to take to be successful in their lives, and it runs the gamut. Everything from not doing drugs to dating to career choices. Everything you could think of that you would need to make your life be a success. And we also provide parents with help in addressing those difficult issues with their teens too, whether it be drugs or other things that is
sex. Usually, parents don't want to talk about that.
Right, and so we're there for that. But it's all a real positive program. And I had the opportunity to attend the Teen Maze up in Prescott earlier this year, and it was amazing. What we did is we had a maze set up with the whole pipe and drape kind of thing, where teens could go in, and at every juncture of the maze, they were presented with an issue. It could be drugs, it could be drinking and driving, whatever those issues are, and the more positive ones, careers and so forth. And they got to make decisions at each juncture, which kind of gave them a foresight as to what would happen in their lives if they took that path. Once again, we're back to the paths. And it's really a cool thing because it's done in a very fun way for the teens. It's not a lecture thing. It's not a point your finger and this is the way you're going to do it to grow up kind of thing. It's not like that. It's more of a fun thing. I think they used a game show theme last year.
So basically, they're letting these kids make the decisions and showing them the outcome.
Right.
What the outcome would be if they had followed through with those decisions.
Exactly. The first one I saw that struck me is they had one of the EMT guys there with one of those dummies, I don't know exactly what you call them, that they use for CPR, and he was showing the kids what he would have to do to someone if they OD'd on drugs. It wasn't a pleasant sight, but it was like, wow, I didn't know you had to do that,
If you get there in time.
If you get there in time, you're right.
Because otherwise you could be a casualty.
Exactly, and we don't want to see that. But it opened their eyes, and it was more of a hands-on kind of thing instead of just telling people.
That's a pretty cool idea because when you sit, I remember sitting there in the assembly hall as a kid, and you'd get the policemen in, and you'd get the firemen in, and you'd get the drug counselors in, and we'd all sit there with our eyes rolling back in our heads going, oh, yeah, really? This sounds cool. This sounds hip and cool rather than sitting in assembly, like you said, pointing the finger, lecturing. This sounds, because it's interactive. You're making this, you're taking the path, you're getting to that, fork in the road, so to speak, and you're making the decision, and then you're seeing what the outcome of that decision would be if this were, you were really doing it.
Exactly. It's a real eye-opener for the teens in a way that's fun for them.
Fun and sobering at the same time.
It is. There was one other section where they had the dating game kind of thing where it was all scripted for the kids, but they picked the kids out of the class and, just come and sit down, and the girl was reading these questions to the three guys, like on the old
like
dating
game.
And it all had to do with dating and appropriate dating, and dating violence, things like that, because that does happen.
That's on the rise. The numbers for young girls having abusive relationships in their teens with just dating, boyfriends, high school, that kind of stuff is just mind-blowing.
And it's not just on the rise. It's been going on for a while. It really has. It's just that I think more people are
starting to talk about it.
Exactly.
And bring it to light, expose it for what it is.
Yes. And the kids, they have a good time doing it because they're, like you said, it's interactive. And they're getting to be in that place to be able to kind of make that decision and then see what the results of that decision is.
Well, how long is the North Star Youth Program, let me try that again. How long has the North Star Youth Partnership Program been in existence?
Well, it's been, I know it's been in for a long time. I don't know exactly how long, but I know the actual Teen Maze has been going on for about 11 or 12 years. And it's been going on up in Prescott, but we just received some funding to be able to expand it to Maricopa County. So we're actually going to have a Teen Maze here in Maricopa.
Oh, very cool.
Yep.
Will that be in Mesa?
It will. It's going to be at Fiesta Mall in Mesa on March 2nd and 3rd, 2012.
Is it going to be like an all-day thing?
All day. It's a Friday and Saturday. It's open to the public. There is no charge. Kids can walk through. Parents can walk through. And it's going to cover all the difficult things that kids face at that age. And that's a really tough time.
I know that also another thing on the numbers that are really starting to make people take notice is teen suicide. Is that discussed as well? Is that covered in this program?
There's one little juncture where they talk about depression and how to recognize it and how friends can help friends if they start to see certain behaviors and things so that they can be there for their friends and maybe talk to people and say, my friend needs some help instead of letting that friend suffer by themselves.
So Teen Maze, it's called?
Yes.
And it's going to be at Fiesta Mall. And what are the dates again?
March 2nd and 3rd, 2012.
Opening hours?
Mall hours. So when the mall opens, it's going to be open until the mall closes. So
both days?
Both days.
A Friday and Saturday?
Yes.
That is going to be very cool.
It is. We're excited about it. We're going to have a lot of, I think Yvette's going to be part of it. And there's a whole bunch of organizations that are going to be working with us. So it's not just Catholic Charities. We're inviting the community to play a part in this so that the resources that are out there for these teens will be made known to them so they know where they can go for help or advice.
Do you have a contact number if somebody listening this morning maybe wants to be involved and needs to get a hold of somebody to be involved in the Teen Maze?
Well, they can start with me, and I can get them to who they need to go to. And I will give you my direct line, which is 602-650-4827.
And what are your business hours, Donna?
8 to 5.
Monday through Friday.
8 to 5.
8 to 5. You're in early there, girl.
Well, not really, but yeah.
So that is the Teen Maze, and the date again is March
2nd and 3rd.
And it'll be at Fiesta Mall.
Right.
And it's in partnership with North Star Youth Partnership Program?
That's one of our programs. That's a Catholic Charities program.
So the Teen Maze is coming to Mesa March 2nd and 3rd during mall hours. You're going to be able to take your teens, or teens can come on down. As long as you don't need an invite, you don't have to RSVP. It's going to be set up both days. So everyone's going to have more than ample time to go through this Teen Maze to hopefully make the right decisions.
It'll give them a good start, and that's what we want to do.
So that's really cool. The Teen Maze, March 2nd and 3rd, Fiesta Mall. Make sure you send your kids and make sure you join them. It might open your eyes to some things, too, that are going on in your teen's life. And there's some scary stuff that these kids are facing on a daily basis. So it'd be interesting. I'm going to go through that because I want to see, I'm going to put myself back to when I was like 16, 15, 14, something like that. when I was stupid. And not that I'm any smarter today, but back when I was really stupid because I was young and thought I knew everything like most teens do, I'm going to put myself back in that time, and I'm going to go through there and see if I can make the right decisions. And I'm not going to try to cheat.
Well, it's tough. It's not that easy. You know, I don't think things have changed since we were teenagers. So
this is good for parents, too.
Anybody can go through it. Obviously, it's geared toward teens because that's the age that are making the decisions now. But it's great for parents to be able to help them communicate with their teens, too.
You know, that is so hard. And that's something that doesn't change from generation to generation. You hear this, I hear my kids say stuff, "Oh, Mom, you have no idea. You don't know anything." And I'm like, really? I was born at night, but it wasn't last night.
Well, the best eye-opener is when you have grandkids and you hear your kids saying the things to them.
Oh, yeah.
That you were saying to your
that's
kids.
Like, I oftentimes catch myself going, "Oh, my gosh, I have become my mother."
Exactly. And it never ends. It's
No, it
just
doesn't.
a cycle that keeps going.
Donna Rogers is with us this morning from Catholic Charities. She's the development manager. And we've got so many things to talk about because Catholic Charities is busy, busy, busy. A ton of programs to help our communities most vulnerable, helping them get those solutions to permanently change and improve their lives, make them self-sufficient, self-sustaining, happy, healthy, make the right decisions, and it helps people of all faiths, regardless. Background doesn't matter. Ability doesn't matter. It's been around since 1933, and last year alone, nearly 100,000 people were helped through the programs offered through Catholic Charities. The one thing that we have to stress is it's not a handout.
That is correct.
You're not looking for a handout. People coming through the programs, I think they realize quickly that they're not just going to get a handout, that they're going to have to work for the help and the assistance that they get.
Exactly. And as I was saying with the Paths of Hope, we actually make that a requirement in some of our programs that, for example, Dignity, that they go through that so that they do have the tools. We don't just throw them back out into the water and hope that they can swim.
And that is so important, especially when you're talking about some of the situations that some people have been in. And oftentimes, not through their own fault. Some of it is their own fault, but oftentimes not. And to have programs out there like Paths of Hope, like Dignity, to help people change, or a place like my sister's place, where if they're in a domestic violence situation, they can call and get assistance and have emergency shelter and get to a safe place. And then they get put into the programs where they can identify down the road the wrong man or the wrong partners to be involved with, and how to balance a checkbook, and how to write a resume, and how to dress for success, and all the good things that come with the right choices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, there's another thing that you got going on, and I didn't realize this because every year I always give to the tax credit for schools. And it applies to public and private, and every year, usually I give the maximum that I'm allowed to give under the law to CTODP, Catholic Tuition of the Diocese of Phoenix. And what I found out is that Catholic Charities is one of the few agencies that still qualifies for that tax credit.
That is correct, and it's a separate credit than the school credit.
So even though I gave my maximum that I'm allowed as an individual to my school credit, I can still do one to Catholic Charities.
That is correct.
That is very cool. Tell us how this works.
Okay, well, if you make a donation to Catholic Charities, up to $200 for a single filer or $400 for a married couple, and you itemize your deductions rather, you may be able to take a credit on your Arizona tax return. That's different than a deduction. A credit means if you owe $1,000 and you're a married couple and you donated $400, you take $400 off that $1,000 right there. Now, if you did make a donation to the schools and say you made another $400 there, you take another $400. You've just reduced your tax liability by $800.
And that is a good thing. Now, I've done the CTODP thing forever. Since the day I moved to Arizona, I've given my maximum every year for the Catholic tuition of the Diocese of Phoenix for CTODP, but you can give it to the Diocese of Phoenix for CTODP, but you can give it to any of the school systems. You can give it to Mesa schools if you'd like. It doesn't necessarily have to go to the Catholic tuition of the Diocese of Phoenix. You can give to private schools if you're so inclined. You can make it to the general fund. You can specify it to a specific school. I mean, there's all different ways to do the school tax credit, but this one is for funding and helping to fund all the wonderful programs that are under the Catholic Charities umbrella.
Exactly. It's basically, it used to be called a working poor tax credit. Now it's called a charitable tax credit. And it just is so perfect for what we do because we do help the working poor. And the idea behind it is to actually tell the state what to do with the money that you're paying them. As part of your taxes. You know, if you, let's just say, for example, say your mom or an aunt or somebody was a victim of domestic violence here in Arizona and you wanted to support programs, you can tell the state, my husband and I, filing jointly, we're doing $400. We want it to go to Catholic Charities because we know that we can help my sister's place and help other women in that situation. You're telling the state what to do with your money.
Which is pretty cool. This gives you some directive as to where your money is going. And as Donna said, and I know because I've done this with the school tax credit, you take that. For me, for an individual with school tax credit, it's $500. So every year, $500 gets sent in, and every year, $500, because I itemize, comes right off my state taxes. Boom, right off the top.
Right.
So I've just reduced my tax liability for the state of Arizona by $500. Now, if I do the $200 for Catholic Charities, add that to my school credit, that's $700 right off the top of what I'm paying the state of Arizona.
Exactly.
And I know that my $500 is going to Catholic schools, and I know that my $200 is going to Catholic Charities.
Exactly.
Because you earmark it. You specifically, when you send in the money, you specifically state that is where it's going.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it because, we all work hard for our money, and it's so nice to be able to see it going to where we want it to go. And I think that's the big thing. And you're helping people. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody.
And it's still one of the few agencies that qualify.
Right. They did some paring down here. I think it was a year or so ago. I'm not a tax advisor, so I don't have all the details. In fact,
you might want to consult your tax advisor.
Yes,
don't
please.
Listen to Donna and me.
Thank you so much. But they did pare them down a while back, and Catholic Charities is still one that qualifies. So you do have to make sure that the charity that you're supporting does qualify, and Catholic Charities does.
This is for the dollar for dollar deduction.
Credit,
for the credit.
Not a deduction.
Right. I'm sorry about that. The dollar for dollar credit. It's a reduction in your state tax liability, and it could be a deduction on your federal taxes as well. But as we said, and we will stress it again, neither one of us are CPAs or tax advisors or anything like that, so you might want to consult with yours. But just know that this option is available to you. And as Donna said, it's just a fantastic way to specifically dedicate where you want your money to go and what work you want it to do. And that's a great thing. With all the different programs that are offered through Catholic Charities, this is just a great way to say, you know what? $400 for this married couple. We've just reduced our state tax liability by $400. We are going to earmark this $400 for Catholic Charities because we know their programs work.
Yes, exactly. And those people, the people you had here that were graduates, you do not know how much they appreciate that.
Oh, they were fantastic when they were in here. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me? Now, getting back to the tax credit, remember that you have to have it turned in before December 31st. Okay, that is the deadline. So by December 31st, which is New Year's Eve, you have to have this check in
It could be a check, or you could go to our website and you can make the donation online all the way up to 11:59 p.m. on December 31st.
That's even easier than getting the check.
Yeah, it sure is. And you can get an instant response from our website, and then you will get a letter from us as well after the fact. But you'll have something for your taxes right away.
Yeah, usually what I do, if this is any help to you, usually what I do is I'll get my letter in the mail, and when I go to do my taxes with my accountant, I bring the letter and all my other stuff that he needs, and I just go, here's my letter, and here's this, and here's that, and he's all set to go, because it states right on there how much you gave and what it was for and who it went to. And I love the fact that you can do this online right up until just about midnight. So right up until 11:59, you can go to catholiccharities.az.org/tax credit, and you can donate $400 for a married couple, $200 per single. Remember, it's not a deduction, though. It's a dollar-for-dollar reduction in your state tax liability. And it could be a deduction on your federal taxes, but you got to talk to your accountant.
Yes.
Talk to your tax advisor. Don't talk to Donna and me. We're just giving you like the good news, okay? And Donna, to charge by phone?
You can call me directly. I would love to talk to you, and I can take the information down for you and get it processed. My number is 480-650-4827.
Is it 480 or 602?
Oh, I am sorry, 602. I live in the East Valley. Sorry about that. And or you can go online, and again, it's catholiccharities.az.org/tax credit.
602-650-4827 is Donna's number. You can call her during regular business hours at Catholic Charities, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And that's if you want to charge by phone, or you want to talk to her about the programs, or anything that has to, or you want to volunteer, if you want to mentor. I'm sure you could always use help down there. And you can always give online through December 31st, 11:59 p.m., right before you're ready to ring in the new year. You can put that tax credit right through. $400 per married couple, $200 per single. It's not a deduction. It's a taxed credit is what it is. So as Donna said, if your state liability is $800 and you're a married couple and you give $400 to Catholic Charities, then your state liability is only $600. Correct?
No, it would be 400.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was looking at the 1,000 before. Now when we're talking about math, my eyeballs are going to start rolling back in my head.
That's why we want you to talk to your tax advisor.
Exactly. So in other words, let's do that again. If your state liability as a married couple happens to be $1,000 and you give $400 to Catholic Charities, your state tax liability now becomes $600.
Correct.
Yay. I was never good at math. That's why I'm not a certified public accountant. That's why I have a tax advisor that does all this stuff for me. So that's pretty cool. And one of the few agencies still that qualifies for this state tax credit is Catholic Charities. So remember that. You can call Donna at 602-650-4827. That's 602-650-4827. Regular business hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. You can charge by phone, or you can go online, and you can still donate. CatholicCharitiesAZ.org/tax credit. And you have until 11:59 on December 31st to get that in. Teen Maze, March 2nd and 3rd. Fiesta Mall. That's exciting. Love. I'm going to have you back before that so that we can remind people that
I'd love
March
that.
2nd and 3rd, Fiesta Mall. Send the kids down. Families go down. Parents go down. Everybody go down. Anybody that's involved with kids, even teachers. I think this is great for teachers and guidance counselors, everybody. And go check it out. It's the Teen Maze that basically every avenue of the maze is going to have a dilemma, I guess,
That's
or
a
a
good way to
life
put it.
choice.
A choice.
And you're going to make your choice and then find out what the outcome would be if you had followed through with that. Could be a great choice, and then again, it could have a tragic outcome. But you'll only know once you go through the teen maze and make those choices. Passive Hope, love it. My Sister's Place, which is emergency domestic violence shelter. And you also have the Dignity Program for girls who are trying to get out of the lifestyle of prostitution. which is a wonderful program. I've had all those ladies in, and I've had Erin in from Passive Hope. Everything that you do at Catholic Charities is just wonderful. Just an array of programs to help the community's most vulnerable and help them with some permanent solutions to help them improve their lives. Any final thoughts, my dear?
I just want to say thank you to everyone, because we can't do what we do at Catholic Charities without the help of the community. And if it wasn't for those folks that are, just stepping up to the plate, we couldn't do what we do. So thank you, everyone.
It's all made possible through your donations and the charitable tax credit. So please, if you can find it in there and you want to reduce your estate tax liability, this is a perfect way to do it. You can do it up until December 31st. You can go online, 11:59 p.m. Just make sure you have everything done by 11:59 p.m. on December 31st. You can go to catholiccharities.az.org/tax credit. Or if you just want to do it by phone because you don't have a computer or you don't trust that stuff, then Donna's there for you at 602-650-4827, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Thank you.
My friend, it is so wonderful to see you. It's been so long. I can see that you're just loving life. You're smiling big and large, and you're bubbly, and everything that you do over there at Catholic Charities, there's just so much to talk about and so much to do and so many people to help. And I want to have you back so we can talk more about the Teen Maze that's coming up in March. And in the meantime, have a wonderful holiday.
Merry Christmas, and thank you. It's good seeing you again, too.
Thank you.